Hello, Cardinal athletes. Welcome to the first episode of the Cardinal Edge podcast. Coach Rosier here with you today. And this is a project that has been in my mind and in the works a little bit for a while. And I'm finally ready to get it going. And I'm really excited about it. So, what we're going to do on this first episode is just introduce the concept of the podcast, what you can expect from it, why we're doing it. And then we'll get into some of our content, which is for today just a broad look into the why behind our department, and maybe give you a lens to look through as you think about why we do certain things in the weight room. So, all right, so what is this podcast? Why are you listening to me right now in your headphones, other than it's just exhilarating content? We love to talk nutrition as a staff with you guys, and behavior with our E plus R equals O content, leadership, culture. We love to talk those things. But there's a challenge with that. Based off our scheduling, as you guys know, we have a very busy time of schedule during the days where we can't necessarily spend 10 minutes with every single team, either before or at the end of your sessions to discuss nutrition and give you tips on how to sleep or talk about culture or certain things. So what this podcast is going to allow us to do is put our content, stuff we believe in and we talk about, in a format to where you guys have access to this at all times. Now, this is not meant to take the place of those one-on-one conversations or those conversations in those group settings. We will still continue to do that. But this content will be available to you at all times, to where if you want to learn about my thoughts on eating breakfast or something, we would have a particular episode on that topic. Again, we could still have those conversations. We still want to have those conversations, obviously in person. But this is just going to give you some content to help you, give you the tools to be the best version of yourself, which leads me to the name of this podcast, the Cardinal Edge podcast. So what is the Cardinal Edge? In the Cardinal Edge, how we're defining it is the relentless pursuit of the best version of myself every day. That's something we preach in the weight room, and that is what we believe gives you the edge over yourself, getting better, being the best version of yourself, but the edge over an opponent or a teammate fighting for the same spot, or a team itself over another team, is the relentless pursuit of getting better. And that's what we believe in. I think that's what leads to success, and we'll get into more of that later. When we talk about the Cardinal Edge, what's going to give you the edge is that itself, the disciplined pursuit of getting better. So that's what this podcast is about, and give you the tools to get better. It's just the content of it. Just like anything else, you're the ones that are going to have to do the work and put some of this stuff into place. So that's what this podcast is about. Again, you will have access to this at all times. Hopefully to give you those tools based off nutrition, leadership, behavior, and stuff, just to think about. We also talked maybe about the why behind some of the stuff we do in the weight room as far as exercises and stuff like that. But just to have you guys be more knowledgeable why we do what we do. All right, so that's the first step of the podcast here today, is I wanted to cover that. But then for the main content for today's particular episode, I just want to give you a broad view of kind of the why behind our athletic performance department. Why do we exist? What are our objectives? What are our core values, key behaviors? Some stuff we've talked about before with most teams, but maybe going a little bit more in depth on it. So the vision of our athletic department, or our athletic performance department, is we want to be recognized for providing a premier athletic development experience by guiding student athletes to the best version of themselves every day. That's our vision. Okay, so guiding you towards your best version of yourself can look a million different ways. It does not say in there, we want to have 100 guys who can squat 100 pounds or 500 pounds. That's not what it says. It's not about that. The numbers that come from maxes and stuff like that is just a product of the process that we are trying to put you guys through of getting better. So that's our vision. We want to provide you guys a premier experience, number one, and we do that by trying to push you towards the best version of yourselves every day. And again, that can look a million different ways. That could be sometimes seems like we're being too hard on you. But again, it's all in that lens of we're doing that for a particular reason, to be the best version of you. All right, so then I want to get right into kind of our objectives of our department. So when I talk about these, I want you to think about, I'm explaining this because everything we do, every exercise we give to you, program, every set rep, can be seen, we do through this lens, okay? And it's different than, I want you to think about, different than maybe you're just commercial bodybuilders, what you see on Instagram. It could be different. So how we perform as a department is seen through this lens. Number one, our key objective is to reduce the likelihood of injury. We cannot prevent injury. If someone tells you they can, they're wrong. And you can't. No one can. Okay, injury will happen, but we can reduce that likelihood by being smart in our exercise selection, being smart in how we load our athletes at certain times of the year, in season, out of season, preseason, whatever it might be, and attacking certain injury sites. We look at each sport as a department. We look at each sport and look at the common injuries within that sport. And then we try to strengthen those areas that will reduce that likelihood of that injury mechanism, if that makes sense. So with our field court sports, a lot of times it's ankle, knee, concussion, head or neck area, shoulders. So we're trying to do certain things, prescribe certain exercises that will help reduce the likelihood of those areas being injured, if that makes sense. For the knees, that's why we do a lot of like altitude drops and sticks and athletic position and just jumping technique, which seems very rudimentary or elementary. Maybe rudimentary was the right word. I don't know. Elementary, but is very important on establishing those habits for the body to learn those positions to jump and land safely for knee health, for example. All right, number two, improve athletic qualities. So this is what most people think our job is get you bigger, faster, stronger, more mobile. 100%. And that's a very important part of our job. Now, this is when I think there's a slight misunderstanding. So I choose these words, athletic qualities, very intentionally. Is we are trying to make you generally a better athlete, give you the qualities of a better athlete. We don't do a whole lot of sport-specific skills in the weight room. So we don't do a whole lot of, and this might turn some people off, but we don't do a whole lot of like sport-specific programs. Let me explain this. We are training you to be a better athlete so we can give you to the sport, your sport staff, your sport coach, so they can teach you those sport-specific skills that you need to play the game. So this is one reason why, and I've heard some discussion about this, one reason why a lot of our programs look a lot the same across sports. So maybe you've been wondering why the football team and the tennis team are doing similar exercises. Because it is our belief and our philosophy that you are all athletes, you are all human beings, and you all need roughly the same things. Probably 80 to 85% of all of our team's programs consist of the same exercises. Your squats, your rows, your RDLs, your planks, that type of stuff. Those are just general strength exercises that we do for those reasons, for the objectives: reduce the likelihood of injury, improve athletic qualities. Okay. Now, the difference is how we do those things. So, with our football team, for example, on offensive linemen, we might squat much differently than we will our golf team or a tennis team or someone that they don't need that same type of strength. Strength is relative in context. Okay, so if you're always wondering why, if you feel like all of our programs are very similar, you're right, they are, and that's intentional. They're supposed to be very similar. Now there is a difference in how we do those similar things, and we do special exercises for teams who warrant that. Like a lot of our overhead teams, our volleyballs, baseballs, tennis, or throwing athletes, swimming, we won't do certain exercises with them because of that first objective, reduce the likelihood of injury. I won't get into all that today, but from a objective standpoint, we're just trying to train those general qualities, make you faster, stronger, more explosive in a general way that will transfer to your sport. But it will look pretty similar across all sports. All right, then our third objective is support the college and your sports staff in developing student athlete character and team camaraderie. We see ourselves as just an extension off of each sports coaching staff. And we're lucky here at Waynesville College where we have a great group of sport coaches that have that same view. So we want to be right in, just like our Coach Rains on the volleyball team. We want to be an extension of her staff in supporting that volleyball team, their character. We have conversations about who's doing well, who needs extra help, whatever. We have those conversations, so we are a part of each coach's staff. And we wanted to do certain things to help with team camaraderie as well. We do off-season competitions with a lot of our teams. That's a very, very important part of our department. We do not want to be seen as just a separate thing to where you go lift and then that's a completely different thing and doesn't really tie into what you're doing on the field. That's not our view. That's not what we want. We want to do more of a holistic approach in your guys' training. So, excuse me. So those are our three objectives as a department: reduce the likelihood of injury, improve athletic qualities, support the college and our sports staff in developing student athlete character. So maybe that gives you a little bit of a lens on why we do things, and maybe hopefully you can see those things in the future here as we're training you guys. And I want to pause right there before I get on to the last little content we have, is if you guys ever have questions on your program, why we're doing something, let's have a conversation about it. Please come ask me, why are we doing this? If me or my staff does not know, that we're not doing our job. If we do not know, we'll find out, but we should know a reason why we're doing everything in the weight room. So if you have questions, come ask. Okay. All right. So the last little part I want to get into today is our core values as a program. And this is what we've thought long and hard about on what we want to see to get to accomplish. These are the things that we want to see that we think will help accomplish our vision and our objectives as a department. So we've talked about these before. It's discipline, individual responsibility, and service. Okay, so I'm going to talk about each core value, and then we have three key behaviors off of that it's not just a core value we're talking about, but we want to see these specific behaviors. So, excuse me. Number one, discipline. When I'm talking about discipline, I'm talking about the ongoing pursuit of learning. Being the best version of yourself is literally just being disciplined. The ongoing pursuit of something that's chosen from within and behaving by a set of principles. So the number one key behavior off of this might be the biggest behavior I think that leads to success, not just in athletics, but in everything, is you do the work regardless of how you feel. For whatever goal you have, there's a certain amount of work that needs to be done. Okay, and what elite behaving people do is they do that work every single day, regardless of how they feel. They're not waited to feel motivated to do the work. Motivation will flee. It is temporary. There's going to be days where you do not feel like coming in here at 5:30 in the morning and putting work in. 100%. Do not be shocked by it. Okay, it is going to happen. But what elite behaving people could do, they're mentally tough enough to say, I don't want to do this, but I know I need to for the goals I want. So I'm going to go do it to the best of my ability. That's elite. That is discipline. You do that over and over again. Do the work every day, regardless of how you feel. Number two, execute fundamentals in all areas. You do it right. Okay, so we have certain things we talk about. We want you to focus on this, this, and this. Execute that. Okay, to the best of your ability. Do it right. You're being intentional, which leads to the next behavior. Behavior of discipline is act with intent, purpose, and skill. Everything you should do should be extremely intentional. So when you're in the weight room, It's not good enough to just check all the boxes. You did all the sets and reps and not be thinking about executing those sets and reps to the best of your ability. That's intentional work. It's not good enough just to practice. It's intentional practice, purposeful practice for a reason. That's discipline. And that's what we want to see out of you guys. Number 2, individual responsibility, or be responsible. So we're talking about this. It's doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it to the best of your ability. So doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it on time to the best of your ability. So the key behavior of this: do what is asked of you with your best attitude and your best effort. The positive attitude and your best effort. You can control those things. You choose your attitude. You can choose your effort. Being responsible is choosing to give a positive effort or your best effort and a positive attitude. Number 2 key behavior is own your actions and learn from the outcomes that result. Failure, it does not mean you're a failure. Failure is an opportunity to learn and begin again, okay, more intelligently when you think about it that way. So if you mess up, own it. Don't point fingers and blame the refs or blame your coach or blame your teammates. Own it. Learn from it. See how we can get better, and we'll try again. Own your actions. That's responsibility. And then do not complain. Do not complain about anything. I don't care if you complain about 5:30 in the morning. It is what it is. Don't complain. You're not helping anything. Okay, you're not getting better. It could be a lot worse. Our lives aren't that hard. Okay, do not complain. Number 3 is serve. Be a teammate. We talk about, you'll hear me say be a teammate a lot. I know you have. So help in any way possible is our number 1 key behavior. Help in any way possible. It's very simple. Help. Do something. Okay? That's spotting. That's helping change weights. That's encouraging, giving high fives, whatever. I heard a coach recently say, if you can't tell me a way that you can't tell me a way that you made someone else's workout better today, you didn't have a great lift. So let's think about that. When last time you were lifting in the team setting, can you remember a way that you made someone else's lift better? If you can't, you were not a great teammate today. Number 2 key behavior is hold each other accountable. And to be a great teammate, you have to hold each other accountable. That might look different than being best friends with them. If you know someone on your team is not holding the standard, let's talk about accountability first. Accountability is 2 things. It's observing what's going on around you and acting. Acting is the hard part. I see a lot of our athletes observe. They know something's not right, but they don't act on it for a million different reasons. So accountability is observing and acting, both on positive and negative things. Okay, so what really championship elite level teams do is they observe what's going on around them, and they hold each other accountable to that standard. So if someone shows up late, or is not intentional, or is being negative, or whatever it is that you decide as a team that we're not going to do, and if someone's doing that and you don't hold them accountable, you are just as much of the problem as the person doing it. And that is truth. On the opposite end, hold each other accountable when things are going well. When someone does something really awesome, call it out and congratulate them on that. That is holding each other accountable to the standard as well. So hold each other accountable. And our last key behavior is don't blame others. Okay, when things get hard, finger pointing is the easiest, most average thing to do. When things get hard, which every team in the country is going to face adversity, it'll look different in different ways, but every team is going to face adversity. If when it gets hard, you start blaming each other, you will not win. Okay, and things will not get better. Okay, you need to take ownership yourself, and what good teams do, instead of turning away from each other, they turn towards each other. Okay, and support each other and find out solutions. And it is really hard to do. All these things I'm saying are not easy to do. But winning and being elite is not easy. And that's why it's elite. All these things, if you don't want to do these things, you'll be average. And I think that is not the Cardinal Edge. The Cardinal Edge is about relentless pursuit of the best version of myself, not the average version of myself. So these core values and behaviors are intentionally talked about and planned to support our vision and mission as an athletic performance department. All right, Cardinals, that is what I want to talk about here on this first episode. So I'm looking forward to this. If you have questions or topics you'd specifically like for me to address, please let me know. Let me know if you're liking this, not liking this, whatever as well. But I'm hoping this is a good tool we can use to give you the information to, again, relentlessly pursue the best version of yourself. Have a great day, Cards.